Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out why manual cars are popular in UK and Europe. So let's see if okay, we are recording, so now let's begin. Let's see.
I'm in a fairly typical street in the UK. Let's take a look at what people are driving. Here is a Ford Fiesta, and that is a manual. Let's take a look at this Mini across the street. And I did look both ways, although the camera didn't, before across the road that is. And that is also a manual.
Okay.
I'm not going to look at this Fiesta because I just looked at that one. So
Mm.
don't need to look at two Fiestas. Let's go and have a look at this Citroen DS3 instead. Is that a manual or an automatic?
Mm.
Also a manual.
Imagine
Now
the
there is
owner
a
comes and like, what
Mercedes
is it?
C-Class down there. I believe that is automatic because it's the E model, which means it's going to be hybrid. I'm going to have a quick run just to confirm. Yes, C350E. So that is going to be an automatic, but this is a much more expensive car, and it's also still fairly young, being 5 years old. Yeah, 5. Do your maths, Richard. All petrol and diesel cars need gears. Some change gear automatically for you, and in others you have to change gear manually yourself. All early cars were manual, and the automatic gearbox didn't start to become widely available until the 1930s and 40s, or at least widely available in certain parts of the world. But that's 80 years ago. Why is the manual still so popular today? And in some markets, such as America, the automatic has been the norm for some time now. In fact, in some states, you can actually pass your driving test in an automatic and be allowed to drive a manual. I
Oh,
can only guess this can be allowed because there's so few manuals that it's not a major safety concern. But in the UK, most small, cheap cars are manual. So if people in the UK could pass in an automatic and then drive a manual, we would have somewhere between 500,000 and 700,000 new drivers each year passing in automatics with no manual experience, taking to the road
shouldn't
for
it
the
be the
first
other way
time
around?
in their manual. And in a country that has a population of only around 67 million, that's a lot of drivers who don't know how to control their car. That could be quite chaotic. In the UK, the manual gearbox is in decline. In 2010, 20% of new cars sold were automatic, and back then that was considered a lot. By 2018, 43% of new cars sold were automatic, but now nearly 60% of new cars sold in the UK are automatic. So although new drivers are still opting to pass their driving test in a manual, over 90% of driving tests are manual, the automatic is becoming the norm. So why has it taken so long for the automatic to start to take off in the UK? Well, it's quite simple. Traditional automatics with torque converters were big, heavy and inefficient. That does not bode well with Asian and European cars. In the UK, we primarily use Asian cars and European cars. However, in America, their cars are already big, heavy and inefficient. They have big 5.7 litre V8s, which they call a 350 cubic inch, with loads of torque, so having a less efficient gearbox doesn't make as much of a difference. And gasoline, as they call it over there,
Yeah.
is much cheaper. So having the convenience of an automatic makes more sense
Sense to
because the
them.
negatives
Okay.
aren't as noticeable. However, if you were to put a traditional automatic in, say, something like a 1.1 litre
Damn.
Ford Fiesta
The
from the
parking of that.
1980s, it's going to drive like you've left the handbrake on. But in the early noughties or 2000s, something started to change. It was out with the traditional torque converter planetary gear automatic and in with the robotised manual. Yes, automatics were no longer really automatics. They were actually a manual but with a robot changing gear for you. So that got rid of the disadvantage of the automatic being less efficient and bigger and heavier. They're almost the same size and same weight. The only disadvantage was the price. Normally it added around £1,000 to £1,500 to the list price of a car, and they worked well in small cars with small engines as well. Therefore, opting to have the extra convenience of the car changing gear for you was no longer such a problem. Well, it was actually convenient. And then the automatic started to become popular. And Japanese manufacturers started to use something called a CVT, which stands for continuously variable transmission. They work well with big engine cars and low powered small engine cars. The only trouble is how they sound. Many people don't like the fact that it actually sounds like your engine is staying at a constant velocity whenever you put your foot hard on the gas. It kind of goes and in fact, in one of my videos I made the mistake of calling it a constant velocity transmission just because I was so used to hearing that constant velocity of the engine. They work well, they are efficient. If you drive gently, don't worry about it, but if you want to put your foot down, they're not very nice. So the reason why it's taken so long for automatics to become popular in the UK is simply because the technology to make a lightweight, low-powered car, which is most of the cars in the UK, automatic yet still drive in a decent way, has only become widely available recently.
Yeah.
But does that mean you shouldn't bother learning manual? You should just learn automatic because all cars are going to be automatic soon. Well, the manual is going to be here for a bit longer than you may think. They're going to be sold up until 2030 minimum, when the petrol and diesel ban comes in, and that ban essentially bans manual. However, that may be delayed. You never know. But let's say
There's a
the
diesel
ban happens
ban?
in 2030, then those cars are still going to be on the road for 10 to 20 years after that. So the manual car will still be popular for quite a while yet. Getting a manual license does give you the freedom to drive whatever car you want. However, of course, learning automatic is easier. But is there another advantage to driving a manual? Or is it all just about the money? It's not just about the money, it's about the experience. If you're brought up around manuals, learned to drive a manual, subsequently got good at driving a manual, and live somewhere where you're not constantly in nose to tail, bumper to bumper traffic, you actually have access to some relatively quiet roads with a half decent speed limit, you may also enjoy driving a manual.
Back in the days, the way that
Of course. Not
we
everyone
learned
does.
how to drive,
It's
we
not
just
everyone's cup of
drive.
tea.
Nobody's gonna teach you. Just sit
But
in
there
the
are
car.
plenty who do. And
Give
as
it a go.
result, with great British country roads, the
And
manual
it
has
wasn't
stayed strong for
automatic.
years.
Trust me.
Even though realistically, the economy and how much people earn in this country means that automatics aren't really out of the question. It is a bit of a choice. Now, I could be driving down this road in an automatic, but I know from experience I won't be having as much fun. There is a sense of joy from the achievement of achieving the perfect gear change.
Actually true.
downshift
If you
rev
do it
match.
without like jerking
The
or
heel and toe rev match,
turning off,
under
then
braking,
some people say I am the best at
and
changing
kissing the red
gears.
line. Although you can do that in an automatic as well.
Maybe I don't know how to park,
course.
but
Drive responsibly.
changing
And
gears
that's
was
part of what makes driving a
natural.
manual so special. I didn't break the speed limit there, but I enjoyed myself. A very powerful automatic will shoot you up to very high speeds very quickly without you doing much at all, which leaves you wanting to enjoy the speed as opposed to the involvement. So therefore, driving a manual enthusiastically allows you to have fun whilst being safe, because there's something else to enjoy. Of course, manuals aren't for everyone. Some people just prefer automatics. I know both. Some people like auto, some people like manual. A lot of people like manual for the same reasons I do, and many people like automatic because, well, it's easier and they're not really enthusiastic about driving. They just want to get from A to B. Whoever you are, doesn't matter. Enjoy your car. Well, I hope this video helps you understand why manuals are still so popular in the UK.
Yeah.
If you think it does, please give the video a thumbs up
Let me
and
know.
check out Collingwood and Confused in the description.
We'll talk later.
If you're a learner driver and want to insure yourself on a friend or family member's car, you can do so with Collingwood without affecting the owner's
This
policy.
is interesting.
And via the link at the moment, there's up to 35% off and a £20
let's
Amazon
go.
gift card. Also, check out confused.com.
How do you call this? The insure on someone's car is interesting because here, um, we don't have that. Like, if you as a human being has insurance, okay. If the car has insurance, okay. So you can get insurance for the car and you can get insurance as a human whilst driving the car. But you can't get insurance. You don't need an insurance to drive other people's car. That one we don't have here. Why can we make this a thing here? You can just drive anyone's car, you know. And let me know where you're from, and is it manual or is it automatic? Here, I think it's 50-50. Honestly. Most of the transportation, like taxis, um, jeepneys, buses, those are manual. And people, it's also 50-50, I think. But obviously, recently, people are buying more manual cars. But old school people, like, parents, our parents, that generation, they're buying um manual cars, I mean. And nowadays, the younger people are buying automatic cars. So if you ask me, I think we have 50% manual. I don't know the statistics, honestly, but I think you can fairly see a lot of manual cars, and you can see fair amount of automatic cars as well. Like, if we're talking about women, most of them have automatic cars now, because the boys, even like younger boys, because of the pride, there's some sort of pride to it, right? um if you drive manual. But during my time, when I was younger, some people were like, you're still young. When I was younger, the thing is, if you drive manual, it means you're not rich. Like, you're average to, like, average, like medium class. Is that what middle class and below? If you drive manual, and if you drive automatic, you're like rich or whatever. So obviously, we didn't have automatic car, so I had to learn manual. Okay, when I was younger, I think I started age 16. Um, without learner's permit. Okay, like I told you, like back in the days, you just take a car, you drive it, and you're good. Like, that was during my aunt's time. Like, my older cousins and aunts, they didn't learn how to drive like officially. They just took the car, or their parents are like, get into the car, we will drive. And that's how they all learned. And then during my time, low key, yeah, I didn't get my learner's permit until I was 16. I mean, no, 17 or 18, one of those. But when I was 16, maybe 15, I was learning already with my driver and my aunt, my uncle. Like, they would teach me, like, for example, if we're driving at like a back road with no police, with no traffic lights, they will be like, okay, you get into the driver's seat, and then you're gonna drive us home. And I'm like, "Oh, what do you mean?" I'm like, You can't just tell me to drive you guys to safety. Like, what are we doing?" And it's not like a road that there are no cars. There are a lot of cars too. And I remember my uncle would say before, like, okay, if you overtake this car, I will give you plus points. And I was like, I don't even know where the points are going to, but okay, fine. I was shitting myself, but had to do it. So yeah, that's how I learned. And then 17 or 18, I officially got my learner's permit. I went to a like driving school, and so on and so forth. And today, you ask me, do I drive? No, I have my license. It's expired, and I don't drive because I don't enjoy it. It's not fun. I just want to sit there and be like, oh, we're here already. And also, my city is the worst place to drive on earth because the streets are like for motorbikes, but a truck should fit there. So I don't know how it works, and it's not interesting. Like the amount of times, no, I haven't really. No, I did hit it once. Okay, our car before, I did hit it once because I had to park. And if you see the road here, yeah, Europe, I know you guys have tight roads and whatnot, but okay, but over here it's worse. And we're coming home. Okay, I made it in our small alley, went down, did my turn, came back because you have to go down and then do your turn, go back up, and then drive back into the garage. So as I was driving back into the garage, that's when I hit the gate. It was just the gate, so it's cute. It's nothing major. So that's it. And then I was like, yeah, stop for me. Bye. When I got my license, that's the moment I was like, yeah, I'm not doing this anymore. But anyways, yeah, let me know where you're from and what do people, majority of people, what do they drive in your country? I'll see you in the next video. Bye.